Hey, everybody, welcome back to another deep dive. I am always digging into the latest book publishing tips and tricks. And, well, let me tell you, this one's pretty interesting.
Oh, I love the juicy stuff. What have you got for us today?
So, get this, I was reading these excerpts from a book all about book publishing. And it really got me thinking about book titles, like how important they really are.
Oh, I can see where this is going. It's so true, though.
Right. I mean, it's the first thing readers see. It can make or break a book, really. It's that first impression that can either draw readers in or, well, send them running for the hills, right?
Absolutely. It's like a good title, it's a promise, a glimpse into what the book's all about, and it can totally set the stage for the entire reading experience, you know?
Totally. So in this deep dive, we're going to unpack some of the key insights from this book about how to choose a killer title. And get this, the author actually kicks things off with this awesome quote from Mark Twain. And it goes like this.
Oh, I love Mark Twain. Let's hear it. The difference between the right word and the almost right word is the difference between lightning and a lightning bug.
Ooh, that's good. I see what they're getting at. Like one word can make all the difference.
Exactly. Like the right title can just electrify a reader's interest, but a mediocre one, well, it just kind of fizzles out, doesn't it?
Totally. But there are so many books out there. How do we even begin to make our titles stand out from the crowd?
Well, that's where this book gets really interesting. It breaks the whole process down into two main paths. The first is what they call tapping into an existing market.
Okay, so that sounds like finding a genre or topic that's already super popular, right? Like not reinventing the wheel, but finding a wheel that's already rolling.
Exactly. And the book points out that there are some serious advantages to this approach. I mean, think about it. If you choose a title that signals like, hey, I belong in this popular genre, there's already an audience out there actively looking for books just like yours.
Makes sense. So it's like you're tapping into a built-in readership, folks who are already searching for specific keywords, browsing certain categories. They already know what they like. And your title's kind of like a beacon, guiding them right to you.
Yeah, but the thing is, if a genre or topic is already popular, that means there's probably a ton of competition, right?
Oh, for sure. Competition is fierce in those established markets. I mean, just think about all the thrillers, all the romances, all the self-help books out there. So your title can't just blend in. It has to stand out. It has to offer something fresh, a new angle, or a unique voice that makes it rise above the noise.
Totally. So how do we do that? How do we craft a title that stands out when there are already so many books covering similar themes?
Okay, so here's the secret sauce. Targeted research. And I mean, really digging deep before you even start brainstorming specific titles.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just about like knowing your genre, it's about really understanding the existing market inside and out, right? Like what's already out there, what readers are saying, what's missing.
Right. And the book gives some great tips on what to look for, like what keywords are readers searching for, what kind of titles are performing well, what are reviewers raving about. By really understanding these nuances, you can craft a title that doesn't just fit in, but it grabs attention.
Okay, I'm starting to see how powerful this can be, but I'm also, I don't know, kind of intimidated. There's so much to consider. But what about the other path this book mentioned? The one about, like, creating a brand new market? That sounds kind of, well, terrifying.
Yeah, I get it. It definitely takes a certain personality,
Yeah.
a bold spirit, because it's about introducing something entirely unique, a totally fresh perspective, maybe even a genre blend that no one's seen before.
So instead of joining a conversation that's already happening, you're starting a whole new one.
Exactly. You become a trailblazer, the pioneer of your own little corner of the literary world.
Okay, now that sounds exciting. But I bet it comes with its own set of challenges.
Oh, for sure. The big one is that you're basically building an audience from scratch. You're not tapping into an existing group. You're creating one. And that takes a lot more than a catchy title. I mean, you need a super targeted marketing strategy, a crystal clear understanding of who your ideal reader is and how to reach them.
So whether you're jumping into a crowded market or forging your own path, it sounds like research is non-negotiable.
Absolutely. It's the foundation for any successful book title. It's like building a house. You wouldn't start without a blueprint, would you? Well, research is the blueprint for your title. It gives you the insights and direction you need to create something truly captivating and strategic.
So listeners, are you ready to put on your researcher hats?
Because we're about to get into the nitty-gritty of what it really means to research a market, whether you're joining the party or starting your own.
Okay, let's say I'm writing, I don't know, a cozy mystery. You know, the kind set in a charming seaside town with a quirky cast of characters. Where do I even begin?
Well, the first step is to figure out who your competition is. Like, who are the authors already rocking the cozy mystery world, especially those writing about similar settings?
So I'm literally looking for books I'd want to read myself.
Yep, make a list of those bestsellers, the ones that are flying off the shelves. And then, and this is key, analyze their titles. What keywords are they using? What kind of vibe are they giving off? What promises are they making to the reader?
I've never really thought about breaking down titles like that before. It's like each one is a little puzzle, with all the pieces designed to attract a specific kind of reader.
You got it. And once you've scoped out the competition, it's time to dive a little deeper. We've got to get into the nitty-gritty of keyword research.
Keywords. Okay, so we're talking like the things people type into search engines when they're looking for a book.
Exactly. Like Amazon and Goodreads, they've become these powerful search engines for readers. So by understanding the keywords people use to find books in your genre, you can sprinkle them strategically into your title.
So like, if my cozy mystery has a baking theme, I should be looking at keywords like cupcake, murder, seaside, and of course, cozy, right?
Bingo. You're catching on fast. And there are actually tools out there, like Google Keyword Planner, that can help you pinpoint the most popular and relevant keywords in your genre. They're like little secret weapons for writers.
This is amazing. I'm already feeling like I have a leg up on my next book. But what about that other path? The one about creating a brand new market? How do we even start researching something that doesn't exist yet?
Okay, now that's where things get really interesting. It's less about data and more about getting into the minds of your potential readers.
So like, if we're blazing a new trail, research becomes more about connection than like hard numbers.
Yeah, you could say that. You got to understand what your ideal reader is craving, even if they don't know it yet. Like, what are their interests? What frustrates them? What are their hopes and dreams? And where do they hang out online? What kind of language speaks to them?
So like, if I'm writing that sci-fi romance we talked about earlier, the one with dystopian and fairy tale elements, I should be checking out online communities dedicated to those genres.
Exactly. Forums, social media groups, blogs, you name it. See what people are talking about, the questions they're asking, the stories they're sharing. It's like you're a detective, uncovering clues about your potential readers.
I love that. By understanding what makes them tick, we can craft a title that speaks directly to their marks, even if they've never encountered a book quite like ours before.
You got it. It's all about that connection. And when you nail it, it's magic.
Okay, so I'm with you on the research part. It makes total sense. But let's say I've done all that. I know my audience, I've got my keywords. Like, how do I actually turn all that info into a killer title, you know? The kind that jumps off the shelf and screams, "Read me."
The million-dollar question. Right. That's where the real art comes in. But the good news is, there are some tried-and-true techniques that can really help. It's not all just like throwing darts at a board.
Okay, well, I'm all ears. Give me the good stuff.
All right, so one technique that works really well, especially when you're tapping into an existing market, is to look for patterns in successful titles. I mean, really analyze what's working in your genre.
So, like, are we talking about themes or keywords or even, like, how the titles are structured?
All of the above. Let's say you're writing, I don't know, a historical romance set in Regency England.
Oh, I love those. All those dashing dukes and scandalous secrets.
Right. So you might notice that a lot of the popular titles in that genre use a combination of, like, a character's title, you know, like Duke, Lord, Earl, and then a keyword that hints at the romantic conflict, like scandal or secret or seduction.
Ooh, I can see it now. Something like the Duke's Secret Desire or the Earl's Forbidden Scandal. Okay, yeah, I totally picked those up.
See? You get it.
Yeah.
By spotting these patterns, you can start to brainstorm titles that fit those genre expectations while still offering something, you know, fresh and intriguing.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But what about when you're creating a new market? Like, those conventions don't really exist yet, right?
Right. It's a whole different ballgame. In that case, it's all about piquing curiosity and hinting at the unique blend you're offering.
So instead of leaning on those familiar tropes, we need to create intrigue.
Exactly. Think about what makes your book special. What are the big themes, the emotions, the conflicts that are going to drive the story?
Okay, so let's go back to that sci-fi romance example, the one with like dystopian and fairy tale elements.
Perfect. Your title needs to capture that unique mashup. It should make readers go, wait, what? Like, what if it was something like Stardust and Steel? Or The Cyborgs Once Upon a Time?
Oh, those are good. They sound familiar, but also totally unexpected.
There you go. They spark that sense of wonder, but they also hint at the genre-bending elements.
I'm loving this. So is there anything else we should keep in mind when brainstorming titles?
Oh, absolutely. This publishing guide, it really stresses how important it is to think about the emotional impact of your title.
So it's not just about information, it's about, like, evoking feelings.
Yes. Think about the emotions you want your readers to experience when they see your title. Excitement, intrigue, romance, maybe even a little fear.
I guess it depends on the genre, right? And the overall tone you're going for.
Exactly. Like a thriller, you probably want a title that screams suspense and danger. But a romance, something sweet and heartwarming.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we pack all that emotion into a few words?
Well, one way is to use really strong, evocative language. Like, instead of generic words, choose words that really pack a punch.
So instead of, like, the house, I might say the Whispering Mansion.
Ooh, yes. Whispering. That adds a whole layer of mystery and intrigue. Suddenly, a bland title becomes something much more, well, captivating.
Wow. Yeah, I'm seeing how even little changes can make a huge difference.
Totally. And don't be afraid to play around with different structures. I mean, you can use a single word, a phrase, a whole sentence. You can use alliteration, rhyme, wordplay. It's all about finding what works for your book and makes it memorable.
This is all so helpful. I feel like I'm finally starting to crack the code of these killer book titles.
And remember, there's no one magic formula. The best title for your book is the one that perfectly reflects its soul and connects with those ideal readers.
It's like that sweet spot where creativity and strategy collide.
Exactly. It's a journey. And the reward, well, it's a title that not only grabs attention, but invites readers into a world they won't forget.
This has been so insightful. But before we wrap up, I want to touch on something we haven't talked about yet. What happens after you've chosen that perfect title?
Yeah.
What then?
Ooh, that's a great point. Picking the title is huge, but it's not the end of the road, right?
Right. So what else do authors need to think about once they've got that awesome title?
Well, you got to make sure it's available.
Available, you mean like nobody else is using it?
Yep. It happens more often than you'd think. Authors fall head over heels for a title, only to find out, oops, it's already taken.
Oh no, that would be crushing. So how do we avoid that heartbreak?
Do your homework. A thorough online search is your best friend. Check Amazon, Goodreads, all the major players, and you could even use a trademark search engine just to be extra sure.
So it's like a little detective work, making sure our brilliant title is truly ours for the taking.
You got it. Better to be safe than sorry, right?
Absolutely.
Huh?
Okay, so we've checked availability. What else is on the checklist?
Think about how your title will look on different platforms.
What do you mean by that?
Well, your title's going to be on websites, social media, e-readers, the physical book cover. You want to make sure it's visually appealing and easy to read no matter where it pops up.
Oh, right. Like a really long title might look amazing on a book cover but get totally chopped off in a website thumbnail.
Yep. It's all about striking that balance. A title that's catchy and informative, but also flexible enough to adapt to different formats.
Got it. So we need to think about how our title will be presented to the world, not just on the page itself.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of testing your title out.
Testing, like running a science experiment on our title.
Well, kinda. Before you commit, it's always a good idea to get feedback from your target audience.
Oh, like sharing a few options with beta readers or in those online writing groups?
Yep. Ask them what grabs their attention. What feels right? Does it match the genre and the themes? It's like having a focus group for your title.
I love that. So much better than just guessing right.
For sure. By getting that feedback, you can fine-tune your title and make sure it's truly irresistible.
This is mind-blowing. Seriously, it's like a whole science behind crafting the perfect title.
It is. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is to choose a title that you absolutely love and that you believe represents your book perfectly.
That's such a good reminder. I mean, strategy and research are important, but there's also that gut feeling, that spark that tells you this is it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Trust those instincts.
Wow, I feel like we've been let in on some secret society of title writing gurus or something. Like I never realized how much goes into those few words on a book cover.
Right. It seems so simple at first, but then you start digging deeper and it's like, whoa, there's a whole world of strategy and psychology happening there.
Seriously, it's like I've unlocked a new level of book nerdiness. I'm gonna be analyzing every title I see from now on. Like, what keywords are they using? What emotions are they trying to evoke? Who's their target audience?
Haha. I love it. That's what's so cool about learning this stuff. It changes the way you see the world, you know. And in this case, it can make you a more savvy reader Andy, a more strategic writer.
Totally. Speaking of strategy, I have a question for our listeners out there. What if, and just think about this for a minute, what if the most unique thing about your book isn't just the story itself, but how you position it in the market with your title?
Ooh, I like where you're going with this. What if your title becomes a genre-bending innovation in itself? A signal flare that attracts exactly the right readers who are hungry for the fresh perspective you offer.
Right. What if your title isn't just a name, but a conversation starter, a promise of a journey, a key that unlocks a world of imagination for the reader?
That's the kind of power we have as writers. And by really mastering the art of the book title, we can share those worlds in a way that's both captivating and strategic.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. Thanks so much for joining us.
It's been a pleasure being here.
And listeners, remember, the next time you pick up a book, take a second to appreciate the power of that title. It might just be the spark that ignites a lifelong love of reading.
Happy reading, everyone. And for all you writers out there, may your titles be brilliant, captivating, and utterly irresistible.
Until next time, keep diving deep.